This war will be decided by AI, not soldiers or weapons, and it is going to be between two superpowers, the USA and China. What do you think? Is this possible that artificial intelligence could determine the fate of humanity? You might not believe it, but even the Pentagon has accepted that AI will decide the next war. It's not some kind of crazy prediction. There are concrete facts and events from history that prove it. Now, first, let me explain what I mean by AI. Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that involves the creation of machines that can perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence, such as reasoning, learning, and problem-solving. It's been around since the 1950s, but recently we've seen some breakthroughs in areas like natural language processing and computer vision. These breakthroughs have led to the development of some pretty amazing technologies, like ChatGPT, Google Bard, and DALL-E 2. I don't want to go into more details, because it doesn't matter if you know how it works or not. You should know why it matters. You see, there are many factors that determine the power of a nation, such as its natural resources, geography, economy, technology, and military. But one of the most important factors is its human capital, which refers to the skills, knowledge, and experience of its population. A country with a highly skilled and educated workforce is likely to have a competitive advantage over other countries. In this regard, the United States and China are two of the top performers. They have invested heavily in research and development, education and training, and have attracted top talent from all over the world. However, they face different challenges and opportunities in developing their human capital. The U.S. has a highly skilled and diverse population, but it also faces issues such as income inequality, political polarization, and a declining birth rate. China has a large and young population, but it also faces issues such as limited access to education and information brain drain, and an aging population. To maintain their edge in the long run, both countries need to find ways to overcome these challenges and maximize their human potential. This is where AI comes in. In simple terms, AI can help countries in many ways. It can make their citizens smarter, faster, and stronger. It can help them learn new things, solve complex problems, and make better decisions. It can also help them work more efficiently, produce more goods and services, and enjoy better quality of life. That's why the US and China are investing billions of dollars in AI research and applications. They want to use AI to improve their citizens and their country. They want to use AI to win the future. And this brings us to the next point. The US and China are the two biggest economies in the world, and they compete in almost every field imaginable. They are rivals and partners, friends and foes. They have cooperated on many projects, and also confronted each other on many issues. They are both superpowers that want to shape the world according to their interests, and now they are facing a new challenge and opportunity together, which is to lead the global AI race. Whoever becomes the dominant power in AI will have a huge advantage over the other, and will be able to influence the world like never before. It will be able to collect more data, develop more advanced technologies, create more innovative products and services, and secure more resources and talent. It will also be able to deal with threats and challenges more effectively, such as pandemics, natural disasters, climate change, and terrorism. Simply put, it will be the ruler of the world. For the US, becoming the dominant power in AI is a matter of maintaining its supremacy. It fears losing its dominance to China, which has been rising rapidly in the past decades and challenging the US on all fronts. For China, becoming the dominant power in AI is a matter of catching up and surpassing the US. It has always been left behind by the Western powers, and it wants to change that. By using AI, it sees the US as its main competitor and rival, and it wants to beat it at its own game. But how will this AI war play out? How will the US and China compete and cooperate in this race, and how will it affect the rest of the world? Well, let me tell you what experts say. According to a report by the Congressional Research Service, a quasi-governmental agency that provides policy analysis to Congress, the US and China have different approaches and priorities in AI. The US focuses on fundamental research and innovation, while China focuses on practical applications and commercialization. The US also has a more open and collaborative approach to AI, while China has a more centralized and controlled approach to AI. The report also highlights some key differences and challenges for both countries. The US has a vibrant AI ecosystem with many startups and research institutions, but faces issues such as protecting intellectual property and ensuring ethical use of AI. China has a large and cheap labor force with many skilled engineers and scientists, but faces issues such as data privacy and security and international cooperation. Overall, the report concludes that both countries have strengths and weaknesses in AI, and that they should work together to address global challenges. However, another report by the Center for a New American Security, a nonpartisan research organization that focuses on national security issues, paints a more pessimistic picture. The report argues that the US and China are locked in a strategic competition over AI, and that neither side can afford to lose. The report also says that AI is not just a technological race, but a broader struggle for global influence and power. The report warns that if the US fails to maintain its lead in AI, it will have serious consequences for its national security and prosperity. It also says that if China succeeds in overtaking the US in AI, it will pose a threat to the rules-based order that the US has created and maintained since World War II. So who will win this AI war? Who will become the dominant power in AI? And what will happen after that? Well, nobody can say for sure. There are too many variables and uncertainties involved in this race. But we can make some educated guesses and predictions based on the available evidence and analysis. One thing is certain though, this war will not be fought with bombs or bullets. It will be fought with bits and bytes. It will be fought with algorithms and applications. It will be fought with data and decisions. It will be fought with brains, not brawn. One scenario is that the US will maintain its lead in AI. This scenario is based on the assumption that the US will continue to invest in fundamental research and innovation, that it will continue to attract top talent from all over the world, that it will continue to protect its intellectual property, and that it will continue to ensure the ethical use of AI. If this scenario happens, the US will remain the dominant power in AI and will shape the global rules and norms for AI. It will also benefit from the economic and military advantages of AI and will face fewer threats from other countries. This scenario is supported by some experts who argue that the US has a head start in AI and that it has the resources and expertise to maintain its lead. However, others argue that the US is complacent and myopic, and that it is losing ground to China. They also argue that the US is divided and polarized, and that it cannot mobilize its full potential in AI. Another scenario is that China will overtake the US in AI. This scenario is based on the assumption that China will continue to invest in practical applications and commercialization of AI, that it will continue to leverage its large and cheap labor force, and that it will continue to develop its own AI ecosystem. If this scenario happens, China will become the dominant power in AI and will challenge the global rules and norms for AI. It will also benefit from the economic and military advantages of AI and will pose a threat to other countries, especially the US. This scenario is supported by some experts who argue that China is catching up fast in AI and that it has the momentum and motivation to overtake the US. However, others argue that China is secretive and authoritarian and that it faces many challenges in AI, such as data privacy and security. A third scenario is that the US and China will compete and cooperate in AI. This scenario is based on the assumption that the US and China will maintain their rivalry in AI, while also finding areas of cooperation in AI. This scenario is supported by some experts who argue that the US and China are both winners and losers in AI, and that they have common challenges and interests in AI. They also argue that the US and China are both rational and pragmatic, and that they can manage their competition and pursue their cooperation. However, others argue that the US and China are both suspicious and competitive, and that they will prioritize their rivalry over their cooperation. So which scenario do you think is most likely? Which scenario do you think is most dangerous? Which scenario do you think is most exciting? Well, that's for you to decide. That's for the future to decide. But one thing is clear, the future is now. We are living in the age of AI, and we are witnessing the rise of the AI superpowers. We are also living in the age of uncertainty, and we are facing the challenges and risks of AI. It's up to us to decide how we will deal with them. Will we embrace AI or reject it? Will we trust AI or fear it? Will we shape AI or be shaped by it? The answer lies in our hands. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of my future videos.